Since the gold rush of Warlords of Draenor, I've been coasting on my generational wealth, raiding and hemorrhaging gold every expansion. At the end of the War Within, I finally hit 0 gold. Now it's time to put my money where my mouth is and really see if I can be a true goblin in the year 2026. Welcome to the rebuild. Well, another week and another episode, and this week has been an interesting one. Last week we were still riding on a few strong markets, especially the Eternals, and the account was in a position where it could either keep chasing short-term flips or start pivoting towards expansion prep. I decided that this week was the pivot week. The goal, therefore, was not profit or liquid gold, but infrastructure. I wanted as many professions ready for the expansion as possible, as many methods tested, find out what dailies worked, get all the low effort systems in place so that when midnight comes around, I'm not scrambling to farm or craft things that I could have done beforehand. Therefore, the main jobs that I set for this week were to keep restocking Eternals, sweep in any easy crafts like the Elethium, Dream of Destruction into Spellthread, push through some Druid queues even though they're expensive and the profit is lower now, keep the Enchanter moving, and most importantly, begin serious work on one of my newer long-term plans, my Alchemist. The first thing I do every reset is check the easy high sale rate moneymakers. Things that constantly and historically move money without me babysitting them. Elethium, Spellthreads, small conversions. They're not glamorous, but it is consistent money. And consistency is what keeps this account going, whilst I set up my bigger projects. I do think Eternals are starting to fall off though. Sale rate feels slow, the undercuts are getting more common, and the price is getting closer to their vendor buy price. I've stopped buying them for now, but I'm going to keep an eye on the market going forward every week. I'm deliberately not trying to make really any gold this week. If I break even whilst increasing my profession coverage and future options, I consider that a win. Everything I do right now is about reducing the time required to make gold once midnight starts. I've dropped over 100k into the Druid queue, with a few good housing items in there too, which of course I had to farm for. On paper, it's around 80,000 profit, not including the lumber that I farmed. In another phase of the expansion, I would optimize this harder, push for, more niche crafts, but right now I'm accepting thinner margins, and that's mainly because my real goal, again, is investing into other professions. I need as much time left over as I can. And remember, this account only has 2 hours per day. Now, I can begin the real project this week. I went through every Alchemy expansion that was not leveled, at least to the point where I could get most of the recipes and unlock the housing decor. Now, the market for these items isn't amazing, at least for right now, but I felt it was worth the investment because once midnight comes around, the prices hopefully will go up and the demand will go down. The total cost of leveling all of my alchemy was roughly 50 or 60,000, with some of that coming back from items that I sold, but most of the items I crafted were vendor trash. I also accidentally wasted a few hours of my time this week doing quests in Legion, trying to unlock skill ups to get the recipes for higher level crafting. After 2 hours of running dungeons and doing fetch quests, I actually decided to look it up on the wiki, and I found that I could have just crafted healing potions to get the rank 3 recipe, and level up with that. So, minor mistake there, left me with a bit less time than I would have liked this week, but oh well, we live with it. Now, I actually went into this week expecting to lose money. I thought that that would be fine, because the aim is unlocking capacity and capability. I want the housing decor as options so that come midnight, if prices spike, I can capitalize. Or if there's a new crafting item and it comes out requiring another old material, I am in a position to mass produce that material. What I like about starting fresh in a profession is that it forces you to process instead of using memory or guides. Here is the simple kind of methodology that I follow. I will look at my database crafting queue, which I taught 2 episodes ago now. I'll craft whatever I can and then look up why it sells, try and find a reason that people are buying this item. Then I post whatever I see as potentially profitable or uncontested, and I wait to see what sells. And if something sells, I make it again, and I make it in higher numbers. Anything that sells repeatedly gets scaled up, and anything that falls off just gets cut. You cut your losses, and you go from there. You don't need any secret knowledge. This is all just a learning experience, and anybody can do it. Interestingly, with Alchemy, most of the decor items didn't meet my 200 gold threshold for farming, which was actually quite perfect this week because I ran out of time anyway. I put a lot of material recipes which showed strong margins, especially once you factor in transmute efficiencies onto the auction house. It opened up the door to future passive production later on down this challenge. As my alchemist is a transmutation master, I looked at those recipes first. Wrath meta gems, Pandaria rare gems, these were all making good money per craft, and they were used for some of the new housing items, so the demand was quite strong. Exactly the type of thing I want online before the new expansion changes everyone's priorities. Here is a point where, if I had more gold, I would be stocking up on these. I would be expecting the prices of daily cooldown crafts, gems that require you to go into old world content, cloth that requires farming, all of this stuff to spike massively once the expansion comes out. I don't have enough gold to really invest to make 20 or 30% profit, as I just make more grinding it through now every week. But if you are in a position where you have more gold, I would look at these. This part genuinely reminded me of gold making back in old Cataclysm and Wrath low pop realms. Small volumes, more thought, and slow, satisfying sales. This felt really good and a bit nostalgic, I've got to say. As the week went on, you could really feel the market starting to shift into a pre-expansion waiting zone. The Eternals softened, some housing lines dried up, margins compressed, and all the people were trying to get their accounts ready, making as much gold as they could and not really buying much. People seemed to be saving, and that meant that I probably should be doing the same. So now let's go live and have a look at what we kind of made this week. And here we are. This is the first mailbox we're opening today. So let's just have a little look in the mailbox, and you can see this character started with 100k, leveled up all my alchemy, so all my alchemy is done. 7k left over, and about 50k in sales from essentially just alchemy leveling. You can see a few of the diamonds, a few of the primal mites, pyron bars, just some testing going on in here, some of the mats that I bought out. But yeah, so let's open this up. Oh, listen to that. Wonderful. Yeah, on to the next character. And here we are with the second character. This is my Enchanter. As you can see, a much bigger mailbox than last week. This character, again, started with 100k. This was 2 weeks ago now. And yeah, there's been a lot of big sales. Most of this has been, as you can see here, these enchanted Elethium bars. Every craft of this has been about 10 gold, give or take. So just look at every single one of these is about 10 gold profit. And I've been buying up the mats whenever they've been cheap. Yeah, and the market's been steady and stable. It's not dipped yet like some of the other markets, but I'm not expecting it to remain for much longer. Let's put it that way. Anyway, let's open this up and see what we are at on this character. Oh, feels good. 154,000 gold, 987. And here we are with the final character, my main, with all my professions. This character started off with around 400k. I transferred some of it off to the other characters. And we have 77,500 just about left, and 154 mils. So I'm going to press just the open all button, go through everything. You can see a lot of bags have been selling. A lot of just random other things, more bags. I sold a lot of transmog this week, a lot of the crafted transmog. But yeah, let's just listen to all this open up. There we go, 550,527. So this is a big mailbox opening, a total value in that mailbox of 473,000 gold. A relatively good week for this character. A few sales did slow down, especially in the housing markets. But again, this week was not about making a profit. I'm glad that we have just about broken even, actually. I spent a lot of gold on the Alchemy. I spent a lot of gold preparing for Midnight and getting other professions ready, most of which you will see next week. But yeah, this week was I think a pretty foundational one for the challenge, and hopefully will set us up to be in a good position later on. Thank you very much for watching, and if you got this far, thank you very much again. I hope to see you all next week. Goodbye.